by any of the anything Wike, be it the former governor Sani. When you look at the way Wike is going, Sheikh Husani gave Wike one answer. He said, when we fought for this democracy, you were not there. You are just the beneficiary of this process that we achieved, which is correct.
True.
My humble self sitting here too, sorry to inform you that I was also released, I was in detention. I was on the Eastern Mandate Union angle. So, for me, Wike is not too much a noise in the Federal Capital Territory. If you put election any day, go and check the history. No party housing the president of the country have ever won election in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, against a supposed opponent party. There's no way anybody from APC can win Mrs. Kingibe. It's not possible. For now, if you go to the rural local government areas that constitute the FCT, you will see that the woman is on the ground. She attends to people. The Kingibes don't take politics for granted. Just like people like me take politics for granted. You supported a member of your party. He was in the finance sector of your government. You brought him in. He became governor, and you're having crisis with him. For me, it's like a mother going naked in the market against her daughter.
Child.
Right. I mean, let's talk about what even led to this particular clash. Wike, was commissioning a road in Abuja, and he reacted to what Ireti said on TV earlier. Ireti is complaining that she's been sidelined by the FCT minister on things that are happening in the FCT. As a matter of fact, he says that Wike, not that Wike is not doing well, but that Wike hasn't listened to the yearnings of the people of the FCT. That you cannot be building roads in the high-faluting areas of Wuse 2 Central Area, Gariki, and leaving suburbans that actually needs this road. That Abuja residents don't need those roads. That what they need is healthcare,
Education.
Education. If a few of these amenities that is not road, but Wike is all about focusing on road, as if there is something more on this particular thing more than ever. But again, don't you think that maybe Wike might be justified by saying that, this lady hasn't even accepted that I am doing well, and then she's trying to turn people of the FCT against me by doing what she's doing?
I think if I were Mrs. Ireti, I would have left this position to the leadership of National Assembly, because National Assembly members, their functions are known, and the limit of their operations is known. There is something wrong in her saying that this development you are doing is not penetrating. You are not taking care of education. You are not doing this and that. For me, it's a service to Wike. Wike should have appreciated that. That the senator is just a legislator. But on the same hand, if Ireti should have also played politics with that. For me, letting the people, the rural people of the FCT, okay, informing them, letting them know that this minister is not for you. It's simple politics. They don't want to do anything for you. As far as I'm concerned, it's a very big service she did to Wike. And Wike should have just grabbed it, knowing that it is federal government that runs or that operates or anything about FCT. You have local government chairman, you don't have a governor, but you have senator, you have House of Rep members. Okay? So, and the federal government appoints a minister who represents the governor. And you ask yourself, is it not a constitutional error that you have legislators representing that territory and you don't have, what do you call it, a governor? You have only a minister. So, this calls also for a constitutional revision. There is need for the National Assembly of Nigeria to look at the FCT issue. We have need for a federal capital territory, or why not make FCT a state on its own, and it will still remain the capital of Nigeria.
Hold that thought.
Just like you have the state of,
Yes.
just like you have other known cities in the world. So there's nothing wrong in FCT. If FCT have, for instance, if FCT have a governor, probably this Wike thing will not come up. It is the party that win that will take charge of it. In the first place, the APC did not win the FCT. It is Labour that won FCT. So if you have done election for position of governorship, probably they would have won also. So, but for me, finally, I want to say that Wike is not appreciative of ideas, services. Listen, the Wike I know is just...
you seem to want to describe his name with what is going on.
Yes,
but
that's his nature. That is his nature.
We have someone on the line
Okay.
via Zoom this morning. Good to have you, Mr. Henry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if you have been following the developments between Ireti Kingibe as the senator representing FCT and the minister of the FCT, the clash that have gone on so far. I don't know what your thoughts are on the development. What's your take on it and the threats? Even though people are focused more on the threats, I'd like to talk about what led to the threats. You know, Kingibe is saying that...
Yeah, thank you very much. I've always said that the powers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are merely compartmentalized for convenience, at the same time for synergy. So the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary all perform the functions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has clear constitutional functions to perform with respect to the constituency, particularly, and of course, with respect to the country at large. With respect to the country at large, a legislator or a senator makes law with other colleagues, with other members of the parliament for the country. Then, with respect to representation in a representative democracy that we have, with respect to their constituencies, then they have the right and the power to continually insist for better governance for their constituents. So Kingibe is clearly the senator representing the Federal Capital Territory in the Senate. And so she has the right to call for better governance for any corner and any part or any individual, any citizen or resident in the Federal Capital Territory. She can make that call on Mr. President, and she can make that call, of course, she's making that call on Mr. President, even if it's the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory that works for Mr. President. Because Mr. President, by the provision of the Constitution, is seen or likened as the governor of the Federal Capital Territory. It's Mr. President that is actually the head of the FCT. Then the minister, a member of the cabinet, does that on his behalf. So for me, it's justifiable for even a citizen of this country, every citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has a right and a duty to ensure the observance of the Constitution, the defense of the Constitution, and the protection of the Constitution. And of course, Section 14 of the Constitution is one of those provisions of the Constitution that every citizen has a right to ensure that is observed. And what is that? The primary purpose of governance or government is to continue to enhance the welfare of citizens and to ensure the protection of lives and property. So if a senator elected to represent the people in the FCT feels that the welfare of citizens don't seem to be efficiently represented with respect to the way and manner that projects are being executed, she has the power and the constitutional responsibility to question. Again, one of the functions of the legislature, meaning including the functions of a legislator, is to oversight or control public funds. So why they do that collectively as the legislature, a particular representative of a constituency can also ask questions with respect to how the funds in his or her constituency are being managed and how the projects are being executed. So I think for me, in all considerations, it is right for any legislator to go back home and see how the executive is carrying on projects and programs in their constituencies and express the expectations and aspirations of their constituents and ask questions where necessary. No member of the executive should take offense in those questions. Rather, a responsible member of the executive would see that as a direction, and probably a representation is making such threats that, oh, we will fail you, you will not return you will not be elected again. I wonder from where Mr. President himself, if it was even Mr. President that was to say that, I would wonder where he would draw that power, because sovereignty lies with the people. It's only the people in Abuja and the residents that will determine who will be their senator in 2027. So wherever the minister got that leverage, I don't know whether it was a discussion in the State House, like one of like your guests analyzed, the ruling party would want to control the Federal Capital Territory, even with respect to winning the elections in the FCT, but that has not happened. Even the president today and his ruling party didn't win the Federal Capital Territory. But that's not, I think that's the reason that the Constitution, unfortunately, we lost that when the courts interpreted otherwise. But I hold the view that that was why the drafters of the Constitution originally intended that whoever was going to be the president of the federal, so you see now what is playing out, because he was going to appoint, is invariably the president, the governor of the Federal Capital Territory. So how would you be the governor of the FCT and you didn't win the FCT? So you're governing the FCT just because you won as president and you won from other parts of the country. So I held the view at that time that the Constitution actually clearly intended a situation where when we elect a president who indeed was going to act as the governor of the FCT, he should also win the FCT, because he was going to appoint a lieutenant, an aide of his, to run affairs in the FCT. So you see a conflict now, but we lost that opportunity when the courts interpreted otherwise with respect to the judiciary.
Okay, Barrister Henry, I'm quite curious to know, aside the terms of reference for these players that we have been talking about, is there any form of constitutional framework or operational framework that will ensure that these people, including the president as the somehow de facto governor of the FCT himself, with the lawmakers and the honorable minister, is there an operational framework that ensures that they will
work from the perspective that he spoke about? I do not know if Mr. Henry has joined us again. Mr. Henry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I lost the part of...
Mr. Henry, I was asking that we're a bit curious to know that aside the terms of reference and these representative members of the FCT, is there a constitutional or operational framework that ensures synergy between these actors, regardless of their, personal differences?
Yes, except where politicians or political office holders decide deliberately to allow impunity to reign over the rule of law. But otherwise, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria drafted in such a way that the power of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is composite, is one, merely compartmentalized, just puts in some boxes for purpose of, if you like, some efficiency, but at the same time synergy. And those boxes, those compartments,